All right, what's up, guys? So let's start building this e-bike, or at least getting the process started. I don't have everything yet, but I just got back from Walmart. So let's take a look at the bike, right? This is $100 Huffy. Okay, they have one for 80 bucks. This one I sprung the extra 10 bucks because it has the disc brakes on the front. And since I'm doing a front wheel hub drive, I thought, a disc brake might not be a bad addition just in case I'm going too fast. Overall, it's a 26-inch bike. I'm a pretty small dude, I'm like 5'5", 5'6", so this is probably the right size. It's got the black frame, nice neon green trim, probably a little bit flashy, something that might stand out while I'm riding on the streets, but whatever, fuck it. And so first things first, what are we gonna do? I gotta take off the front wheel. I'm going to peel off the tire, put it onto this rim, that way we have something that works back and forth. Make sure that the ehub fits into the spokes or into the front fork before I do anything. And then from there, we'll just start mocking everything up and putting this thing together. So I got tools, I got water. What else do I really need? Probably a cocktail in about 45 minutes. But I'm just gonna put this off to the side and we'll get to work and let it run. All right, well, take two. So this shows you how much I know about a bike. The last time I owned a bicycle was when my mommy and daddy bought one for me. Actually, I was a freshman, dude. So I was 14, I had a bike, I was doing summer school, and somebody fucking stole it. That's probably the last time that I had a bicycle. So at any rate, so I had to go back, get a new bike. If you have calipers, disc brakes on the front, I have a front hub, you can't use the disc. So you have to have regular caliper brakes for the front. So I got a more discreet looking black and gray. This one was actually $10 cheaper. This is probably the cheapest bike that they sell. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work on getting the front tire off. I actually have some torque arms which are recommended for having a hub, whether it's on the front or the rear. So I'm gonna kind of mock things up again, still like I had mentioned the first time. Get the thing in there, get the tire, maybe change the tire over. We'll see what happens here. All right. $13.16. Okay, let's see if that's the magic number. I don't know. I'm going to try a variation on the other side just to see. Because there's a lot of space in between the fork and the motor. I don't know. You see, I can make it really tight. I feel like. Before we do anything, before you even tighten another fucking bolt, we should plug everything together and see if it works. Let's see if I can do that really quick. Okay, boys and girls, let's play with electricity and try and be safe. So I have two of the battery packs. They're connected in parallel. I probably could do this with just one, which we should probably just try that first, just for shits and giggles. That way, if anything goes bad, we don't blow ourselves up. So I have this XT connector to two banana plugs right here. Everything else is plugged in for this thing. Here's the handle. This is the wire. Okay, and I feel like ideally the wheel should spin to the left because that would mean we're going forward, and if it doesn't, then that means we're going backwards. Where's my tape? Where's the last bits of my tape? Okay, so take this and put this inside the positive, which hopefully has a fuse in it anyways, and just kind of, okay, so let's plug this in. Everything's together. Okay, so we have power. And check it out. It definitely goes fast. I don't have any brakes on this, but that is the right direction, so I guess I got lucky. A little bit of power. Has a cool sound. Has a little bit of a weird wobble. I can wire, we could test, that's great. Batteries work, okay, we're in business. It's placed the right direction. So now let me flip the bike back over. And I want to make sure that the shocks are working, because there's shocks right here, right? And it felt a little chunky because now I have the, it's really weird, man, because I feel like there should be like another spacer in between the hub and the fork to kind of give it some space. And right now, because they want it really tight and then they tighten it down, that the forks are coming together like this. I don't know how that's going to happen, what that's going to do. I mean, I have some ideas because I'm not fucking retarded, but let's flip this over and see what the suspension looks like. So it's another day of doing the build. I got my torque arms. I had a little bit of an issue with the wheel. Sorry about the background noise. There's a lot of laundry going down here. It's a multi-family unit. Anyways, so let me show you the issue that I had. With the tire, okay, so it comes in, and there was actually a lot of space between the axle on this side and on this side. And so I talked to them because when I tighten the fork down, it would pinch in, and then the suspension doesn't work. And they're like, no, that's just the way it goes. I'm like, come on, guys. So anyways, on the wire side of the hub, you can see that this is how they started it. They put the little torque washer in here. They've got this one right here, and then they've got the nut. Now I need something to go on the inside, so how the fuck am I supposed to do that? The washers are already placed in this order because it goes down this wire, it comes all the way to the end, and then I have to take it off. And actually I couldn't take it off at first because this little connector was on the end of the wire, so there's no way for me to get all the washers off because of blocking it. But I was actually crafty enough, if you look closely, when they're slipped inside of here, if you use a really small Allen wrench, you can push down on this little tab right here. I don't know if you can see it sideways, maybe right there, and get all of these back out. So now I'll actually be able to slip all of the washers off of this. On the far side, see, I'm actually able, because there's no wires here. Okay, easy, you know, you can just put these on any arrangement that you need to, and it doesn't really matter. So now I can actually make the correction. I thought I was actually gonna have to cut the wires off and then, you know, solder them back together or just use some butt connectors, but that was actually a quick solution. So I'm going to put this on the inside. I also have a torque I also have the torque bars here, so I'm going to install those as well, and then we're going to get to finishing some more of the build here. All right, so let's do some of that. There, I'm a lot happier with that now. Now I feel like the suspension's gonna work fine. So it needed one spacer on the inside of each one. This thing is cranked down really tight. I'm a lot happier with it. But they really should have some instructions or something for you to know that if you need to switch it around, that with a little bit of finesse, you can get these off and change it around. Otherwise you'd be SOL, right? Cutting the wires. So it worked out into my favor this time. Alright my friends, it's time for the inaugural first bike ride to make sure that it's right and it works. I have tested the battery, plugged it in, everything turns on, the thing fires up. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown. It's very loosely put together, that way if I need to make any modifications I can before I tighten all the zip ties down. So the tire's on, we have the torque arm. I do need to come back later with a hammer and maybe like a screwdriver wasn't working good enough, but I need to get this to fit better into the dropout on both sides. And we'll probably have to adjust the brakes as well, but I did go with the brake handles that they provide you, which is supposed to cut power. Seems to grip and work good. The handle is here, twisty. That powers it on. It reads out it's good. I still have the twist shifters. I moved down a little bit. I have a basket that's coming for the front because I'm trying to do deliveries. I have a horn, like a scooter horn, which is actually really funny because here is the horn. I have it wired in. It's kind of under here nice and loose for now, but I do have a power wire, and then it's grounded up to the seat post here. So you ground the horn here, the power wire runs in, and then it's connected to the horn. So once you hit it, you get that intermittent switch. Back here, I got a nice low-key discreet toolbox. It's a 16-inch. Ran all the wires in. I used a 1-inch hole. What do you call it? A drill bit that makes a hole drill bit driller. Anyways, and then here is the DC reducer. So it takes the battery from 36 volts down to 10 volts so that I can honk a horn, and maybe I'll be able to do some other things. I kept the controller in the bag that was here. It was supposed to go in the middle of the frame, but why not get it all in here? And then I have a special splitter that I made. So this, the battery plugs into this, and that goes into the controller to give it power, and then the other half splits off into the DC reducer. So we're gonna take this outside, see if it works good, and then everything works good. Then I'll put a nice piece of insulation here, probably some yoga mat, put the batteries on top of that, and then I'm going to put some straps in here to strap them down, and then we'll be in business. We'll close this thing, I'll throw a lock on it, maybe one extra piece of security around it. That way while I'm making deliveries, nobody tries to break into my battery box. But there's still a little bit of extra space in here. I can actually put, you know, like a spare tire or a tube. I can put the air pump. There might be a couple other things that I stash in the box, but aside from that, I think we're ready to rock. Well, we got spinning. Great works, right? Next, how about the horn? This is my favorite part. This is the stupid part. I think that's ridiculous, but I also think it's amazing. So now let's just take it up the road here a little bit. Let's see. All right, so it's working. I haven't died. It's just a 500-watt motor. I'm just using one little battery right now just to kind of get around. So far, not too bad. Not a ton of pickup. I'm gonna ride a little bit more, play with the gears too, kind of find the right spot for, you know, using it to start. If I want to pedal, I can. If I want to go all power, I can do that, but without having to change the gears too much. So I'm going to ride around a little bit, you know, and play with it and see what's going on. It works. Well, right? Is this shit retarded or what? I love it. So I need to tighten up the front brakes. The back looks good. Probably not a good idea to ride through the grass when it was just raining for the last 18 hours. Because now I'm all wet and dirty as shit and I gotta wipe down the bike. That's okay. So overall, pretty good. A couple modifications up here, tighten up the front brakes just a hair. The pickup is good, not great, but hey, I'm just trying to be a little bit lazy. So we'll take this back and make the final adjustments, and then we'll start strapping batteries down and stuff. Well, right? Is this shit retarded or what? I love it. So I need to tighten up the front brakes. The back looks good. Probably not a good idea to ride through the grass when it was just raining for the last 18 hours. Because now I'm all wet and dirty as shit and I gotta wipe down the bike. That's okay. So overall, pretty good.
couple modifications up here, tighten up the front brakes just a hair. The pickup, it's good, not great, but hey, I'm just trying to be a little bit lazy. So we'll take this back and make the final adjustments, and then we'll start strapping batteries down and stuff. This around. Oh yeah. I bet this is some shaky fucking video. Oh my god. Obstacle. Which way do I go? Let's go to the left and go really slow so it's all wet around here. Oh my god. Slow motion obstacle. Back safely. I'm wondering if some of the torque is lost because I'm only using one battery, right? So right now I'm just using a 10S 2P with what is it, like 10 amps of output or something like that. But when I link 3 or 4 together, then I'll have more available amperage for the motor to pull. So maybe that's part of it. I was just using a little tester battery in case some shit went wrong. I didn't want to lose the whole lot. So now we can start tightening everything down and really putting everything together. Yeah, it's gonna look good.